Dear students, let us understand the last topic of chapter 2, Entrepreneur Development Program. Now we are going to understand the definition, the needs of study, objectives, what are the phases of EDP, and how to evaluate. So let us understand these 5 topics in the next coming slides. Let's understand what is the definition of EDP. See, as the term itself denotes, EDP is a program that is meant for development of entrepreneurial abilities among the people. In other words, it refers to inculcation, development, and polishing of entrepreneurial skills into a person needed to establish successfully run his own enterprise. Thus, the concept of entrepreneurship development program involves equipping a person with the required skills and knowledge needed for starting and running the enterprise. Now, coming to the exact definition, entrepreneur development program is designed to help an individual in strengthening his entrepreneurial motive and in acquiring skills and capabilities which are necessary for playing his entrepreneurial role effectively. It is necessary to promote his understanding of motives and their impact on entrepreneurial values and behavior for this purpose. So, Entrepreneur Development Program is a planned effort to identify, inculcate, develop, and polish the capabilities and skills as a prerequisite of a person to become and behave as an entrepreneur. Now let's understand what are the needs of EDP. Why we need to have entrepreneur development program. Basically, it is for superior performance of entrepreneurs, induce motivation and competence among the young prospective entrepreneurs. Programs similar to EDPs are conducted in other countries also. For example, Junior Achievement Program based on the principle of catching young talent in USA, young enterprise in UK, etc. Now coming to the EDP need, the entrepreneur possesses certain competencies or traits. These competencies or traits are underlying characteristics of entrepreneurs, which results in superior performance and which distinguish successfully entrepreneurs from unsuccessful ones. Important question arises: where do these traits come from, or whether the traits in born entrepreneurs or can be induced into development. In other words, whether entrepreneurs are born made or behavioral scientists have tried to seek answers for this question. So the need for achievement was an answer to any question. It was the need for achievement that motivates people to work hard. So according to McLennan, money making was incidental. It was the only measure of achievement and not the motivation. So it is what exactly the need for your entrepreneur development program has been developed. Now let's understand the objectives of EDP. Now there are several objectives that actually been derived from entrepreneur development program. Now let us discuss one by one. Develop and strengthen the entrepreneurial quality, that is motivation or need for an achievement. Analyze the entrepreneurial setup relating to small industry and small business. Select the product. Formulate proposals for the product. Understand the process of the procedures. So know the source of the help, understand the process of procedure, and know the source of the help and support available for starting small scale industry. Acquire necessary manager skills required to run a small scale industry. Know the pros and cons of becoming an entrepreneur. Appreciate the need for the entrepreneurial discipline. Now let's understand the different phases of EDP. Now, any EDP which consists the phases has been derived broadly into 3. 1. Pre-training phase. 2. The original training phase. And the third one, post-training phase, which is also called as a follow-up. Let's understand what is pre-training phase. Now, the activities and the preparations that are required to launch the program are come under this particular phase. Now, when you want to become an entrepreneur, what are the basic skills that you need to have been explained, been trained in this particular phase? Like design of the course curriculum or the contents, what exactly you need to understand or what exactly you need to get trained or put into this particular content. Exploring and selecting appropriate faculty and resource persons. Now, who are going to teach you about this particular training, and what exactly the resources that are exactly needed for teaching these particular things, like persons or the training material, etc. Insertion of advertisement. Now, how do you make yourself into this particular advertising? Now, who is going to give you should know who is going to give you the best training. And the last one, screening and selection of potential entrepreneurs. Now, who are the original entrepreneurs or who want to become good entrepreneurs? Select those particular entrepreneurs to give the training. The next plan is training phase. The main objective of this phase is to bring the desirable change in the behavior of the trainees or the entrepreneurs. The behavior changes that need to be measured and monitored through the training program, like raising the motivation level of entrepreneurs. So generally, to start with, any entrepreneur has an internal built a particular type of frustration, so that whether he can become a good entrepreneur or not. So he need to have what is called self motivation and belief. So raise that particular motivation level of the entrepreneurs that you are going to become a good entrepreneur in the future. Now, developing goal directed behavior pattern. Now, behavior is the most important aspect for any entrepreneur. And what are the goals that a particular entrepreneur has? So to develop these particular goal directed behavior pattern is the most important factor. Raising positive thinking and belief. Now, it is a business. So there is always a chance of being run. There is always a chance of being going for a loss. So unless you have positive thinking and belief in you, you cannot overcome the situations when they arise actually when you are doing your business. So you need to develop the positive thinking and belief once you are in the training phase of your EDP. Now, continuing the training phase, the next point is arousing and raising change oriented involve psych. That means you need to have what is called a change in your orientation and in your innovative approach. So you need to develop what is called a particular psych, that I am going to win the situation under any circumstances. So that particular point should be inculcated inside the entrepreneur, so that he will be able to meet any challenges raising after that particular entrepreneurship. Next, arousing and raising psyche of the risk seeker. Now, always there is a risk whenever you are going for an entrepreneurship. You need to be a particular psyche of seeking the risk. You need to go for what is called a risk-taking entrepreneur. Now, developing a high degree of self-confidence, and unless you have what is called a self-confidence, you cannot become a good entrepreneur. So you need to develop a high confidence of self-defense, high confidence of self-degree, so that you are able to meet any challenges, and you are not able to put up yourself into a particular psyche when there is a problem inside your industry. Developing a psyche of responsibility seeker. Now, as an entrepreneur, you are responsible for your company, for your labor, for your all kinds of your program. Now, once you are going to have what is called a psyche of responsibility, you should be able to take the responsibility whenever arises. The last one, developing a strong sense of perseverance and commitment. So unless you have a commitment, unless you are trained with what is called a commitment, and unless you have a strong sense of perseverance, you cannot become a good entrepreneur. Let us see what are the post-training phase. Now, this phase involves an assessment to judge how far the objectives has been achieved. So once you have been put up under the training, once the entrepreneur is under the training, how is capable of maintaining that particular, or what is the consequence of giving a particular training to the entrepreneur is being reviewed in this particular phase. It follows like this. Review the pre-training work. Now, how far the training has been achieved by the entrepreneur is to be reviewed. This review can be taken any place, like putting a practical test or putting a particular questions to answer properly from the entrepreneur, etc. Review the process of training programs and how far the program has been taken by the entrepreneur. So there should be a proper review of this. So what are the risk-taking propensity of a particular entrepreneur? What is the self-confidence that he has developed, and how far the motivations has been achieved, or what are his goals and how he is able to achieve these particular goals, etc. are to be reviewed properly. And review the past training and approach. If he has any past training or if he has any experience of being as an entrepreneur in the past, is to be reviewed in this. So once you have taken the training, all this particular training curriculum has to be properly reviewed, which we call it as a post-training phase. The next one is evaluation of entrepreneur development program. The main criteria can be employed to comment the performance of entrepreneurs. So what are the main criteria of giving a particular training and how to evaluate that? Now this evaluation period will last for several different months or years. Like we cannot get the evaluation in a single day or in a single month, because the performance has to be measured properly to a particular period of time. Now first is financial results. Now how far this particular entrepreneur is able to develop himself and put into the industry and able to make his profits. So financially, how sound is this particular training is going to be put up. A gestation period. That means after developing or after acquiring a proper training under that particular EDP and practically implementing it into the industry. So what time has been taken? So is it exactly the training phase completed and the entrepreneur is able to put up his skills? So how far the skills has been developed and practically being implemented is tested under the gestation period. Capacity utilization. Now entrepreneur may have what is called a full capacity. Now how far that particular capacity has been utilized in the industry, in the entrepreneurship, once the entrepreneur is going to make his own business. Expansion and diversification. Now when the entrepreneur has been properly settled and is able to earn what is called his profits, his financial results are good, then what are the plans that he has made for the expansion and diversification of his business in future? Now what are the value additions that you are trying to make? Like what are the social responsibilities that he is able to take? What exactly he is going to give for the society, etc. and some other factors which are related to enterprise. So this is what is called entrepreneur development program. So thank you, students.